What if the limits you believe define your body, your health, and your future are not real at all? What if ordinary people, people with trauma, disease, fear, and broken pasts, have already proven that the human mind can transcend biology, rewrite destiny, and access realities beyond space and time? In this video, we explore Becoming Supernatural by Dr. Joe Dispenza, a book that sits at the intersection of neuroscience, quantum physics, epigenetics, and ancient mysticism. This is not a book about blind belief. It is a manual for transformation, a guide showing how common people are doing the uncommon. Let's begin. Getting ready to become supernatural. Dr. Joe Dispenza opens this book with a bold admission. Writing Becoming Supernatural is a risk. The ideas inside challenge conventional science, linear thinking, and the belief that we are limited by our past, our genes, or our circumstances. But Dispenza no longer writes to convince skeptics. He writes for those who sense that more is possible. At the heart of this book is a simple yet radical idea. Human beings are not linear creatures living linear lives. We are dimensional beings living dimensional lives. And within us already exists the biological machinery to heal, to create, and to transcend. Through years of workshops, brain scans, heart coherence measurements, and biological data, Dispenza and his research teams observed something extraordinary. When people changed their thoughts and emotions consistently, measurable changes occurred in their brains, hearts, genes, and immune systems, sometimes in just days. This book is not about theory alone. It is about experience, and it begins by opening the door to the supernatural. Chapter 1. Opening the door to the supernatural. Dr. Joe Dispenza opens the journey into the supernatural with a raw and deeply human story, the story of Anna. Not because it is dramatic, but because it is familiar. Anna represents what happens when unresolved emotional trauma becomes biology. Anna was a successful psychotherapist, a mother, and a professional living a seemingly stable life. That stability shattered instantly when her husband committed suicide without warning. In a single moment, her nervous system was thrown into survival mode. Her body flooded with stress hormones like adrenaline and cortisol, chemicals designed for short-term emergencies, not long-term living. What Dispenza emphasizes is that stress is not just psychological. It is biological. When the brain perceives threat, especially something unpredictable and uncontrollable, it activates the sympathetic nervous system. Blood flow is redirected away from higher reasoning centers and toward survival functions. The body prepares to fight, flee, or freeze. In Anna's case, the event never truly ended. Every day, she replayed the memory of her husband's death. And each time she did, her body responded as if the trauma were happening again. The brain does not distinguish between a real experience and a vividly remembered one. The same neural circuits fire. The same chemistry is released. This is where the past becomes the present. Emotions, Dispenza explains, are the chemical residue of past experiences. When we live emotionally in the past, the body is chemically conditioned to that past. Over time, the body becomes addicted to stress hormones. People unknowingly use their problems to generate familiar emotional states, even when those states are destructive. As months passed, Anna's chronic stress suppressed her immune system. She developed paralysis, autoimmune disorders, severe inflammation, depression, and eventually cancer. Her body was no longer in growth or repair. It was locked in survival. But the most important moment in Anna's story is not her suffering. It is her decision. At rock bottom, she made a clear, firm choice to change herself. That decision carried emotional energy. It marked the moment when her mind began to reclaim authority over her body. Through consistent meditation, emotional regulation, and inner work, Anna began to reverse her condition. Her healing was not miraculous in the mystical sense. It was biological. Her story opens the door to the supernatural by proving a foundational truth. When you change your internal state, your body and life must follow. Chapter 2. The present moment. If the past is stored in the body, then the present moment is the doorway out of it. According to Dispenza, all change happens now, not tomorrow, not after circumstances improve, but in the present moment. Most people live mentally divided between regret and anticipation. They either relive familiar memories or rehearse feared futures. Neurologically, this keeps the brain wired into predictable patterns. Chemically, it keeps the body producing the same emotions. Biologically, nothing changes. The present moment is where the known ends and the unknown begins. When a person places their full attention on the now, without reference to identity, environment, or time, the brain shifts into coherence. Brain waves slow from high beta stress patterns into alpha and theta states, where the subconscious mind becomes accessible. In this state, the analytical mind quiets. The autonomic nervous system, the system responsible for healing, balance, and regeneration, becomes programmable. This is critical because true change does not occur through conscious willpower alone. It occurs when subconscious programs are rewritten. Dispenza emphasizes that being present is not passive. It requires practice, focus, and a will greater than habitual emotional patterns. But when practiced consistently, the present moment becomes a biological state where the body is no longer living in the past or anticipating the future. It becomes available for transformation. Chapter 3. Tuning into new potentials in the quantum. Once anchored in the present moment, consciousness can move beyond the physical world. Dispenza introduces the concept of the quantum field, an invisible realm of energy and information that exists beyond space and time. In this field, all possible futures already exist. Health, abundance, healing, and transformation are not created from nothing. They are selected from infinite possibilities. To enter this realm, one must let go of identity. No body, no name, no story, no past, no future. Awareness detaches from senses and becomes pure consciousness. In this state, intention becomes powerful. But intention alone is not enough. Emotion provides the energy that carries intention into the field. When a person's emotional state matches the frequency of a potential future, a resonance occurs. That resonance draws the experience back into physical reality. Dispenza explains that people often fail because they think of a new future while emotionally remaining in the past. The body believes emotion more than thought. True creation occurs when thought and emotion are aligned. This chapter introduces a meditation designed to give individuals a direct experience of the quantum field, not as a concept, but as a lived inner reality. Chapter 4. Blessing of the Energy Centers. The human body is governed by multiple energy centers, each associated with specific glands, hormones, emotional states, and survival functions. These centers are regulated by the autonomic nervous system. When stress dominates, energy becomes trapped in lower survival centers associated with fear, control, and identity. Over time, this imbalance manifests as illness, emotional instability, and fatigue. The blessing of the energy centers meditation trains individuals to place conscious attention on each center and elevate its frequency. Attention is energy. Where attention goes, energy flows. As brain waves slow, access to the subconscious increases. In this state, intention and emotion can reprogram the autonomic nervous system. The goal is not force, but coherence. When energy centers function in harmony, the body exits survival mode and enters creation mode. Healing becomes the natural byproduct of balance. Chapter 5. Reconditioning the body to a new mind. One of the greatest challenges in transformation is that the body often resists change. Even when the mind chooses a new future, the body clings to familiar emotional states. Dispenza introduces a specific breathing technique designed to move trapped energy out of the lower centers and into the brain. This creates a surge of energy that can be used for transformation rather than survival. Elevated emotions such as gratitude, joy, love, and inspiration signal the body that a new future is happening now. When these emotions are practiced repeatedly, the body learns a new chemical baseline. This is how the body is reconditioned to a new mind. Genes are signaled differently. Hormones shift. Neural networks reorganize. The body begins living in the future before it arrives. Chapter 6, Case Studies, Living Examples of Truth. This chapter presents real people who applied the practices described in the earlier chapters. They were not monks or mystics. They were parents, professionals, and everyday individuals. They healed autoimmune diseases, reversed chronic conditions, and transformed their lives by changing their internal states. These stories serve a critical purpose. When we see someone like us succeed, belief increases. And belief itself alters biology. The thought, if they can do it, so can I, becomes a neurological and emotional catalyst for change. Chapter 7, Heart Intelligence. The heart is more than a physical organ. It has its own neural network and generates a powerful electromagnetic field that extends beyond the body. When elevated emotions are sustained, the heart enters a state called coherence. In this state, heart rhythms become ordered and harmonious. This coherence signals the brain to function more efficiently. The heart is the center of unity consciousness. It is where separation dissolves and connection emerges. When the heart is open and coherent, intention becomes amplified. Dispenza explains that long-term health, emotional resilience, and creative power are rooted in heart coherence. The brain may think, but the heart knows. Chapter 8, Mind Movies and the Kaleidoscope. In this chapter, Dr. Joe Dispenza introduces one of the most creative and powerful tools used in his advanced workshops, the combination of mind movies and the kaleidoscope. The purpose of this practice is simple but profound, to reprogram the subconscious mind with a clear vision of the future. Most people live according to subconscious programs formed by past experiences. These programs silently shape habits, emotional reactions, self-image, and expectations. Even when people consciously want change, the subconscious mind often resists because it is wired for familiarity, not growth. The kaleidoscope is used as a tool to induce a trance-like state. As the eyes focus on constantly shifting geometric patterns, brain waves slow down. The analytical mind, the part that questions, judges, and doubts, becomes quieter. In this suggestible state, the barrier between the conscious and subconscious mind begins to dissolve. Once this doorway is open, the mind movie is introduced. A mind movie is a personalized visual sequence containing images, symbols, and short affirmations that represent the future a person wants to experience. These images are not fantasies. They are instructions. The brain does not distinguish between a vividly imagined experience and a real one. When the subconscious accepts these images as truth, it begins reorganizing neural circuits accordingly. Repeated exposure to these future images conditions the brain and body to expect that reality. Emotions associated with the images, gratitude, joy, excitement, further strengthen the signal. Over time, the person begins to think, feel, and behave in alignment with that future, allowing it to manifest naturally. Chapter 9, Walking Meditation. Transformation is incomplete if it only happens with closed eyes. In this chapter, Dispenza introduces the walking meditation, a practice designed to integrate elevated states of being into everyday movement and awareness. Many people experience clarity and coherence during seated meditation, only to lose it once they return to daily life. Old habits, emotional triggers, and environmental cues quickly reactivate subconscious programs. The walking meditation was created to bridge this gap. In this practice, individuals rehearse who they want to be while moving through space. With each step, they embody the posture, emotions, thoughts, and energy of their future self. The body is trained to feel as if the future is happening now. Neurologically, this practice installs new circuits while dismantling old ones. Emotionally, it conditions the body to elevated states without external triggers. Over time, walking, standing, and interacting with the world become expressions of the new identity. The walking meditation teaches a crucial lesson. True change is not something you visit, it is something you live. Chapter 10, Case Studies, Making It Real. This chapter presents a new set of case studies that demonstrate what happens when people consistently apply the teachings from the previous chapters. These stories act as bridges between theory and lived experience. Individuals describe healings that defied medical predictions, unexpected opportunities that appeared at just the right moment, and profound inner transformations that reshaped their identities. In each case, the pattern is the same. Clear intention combined with elevated emotion, practiced repeatedly. Dispenza emphasizes that these outcomes are not coincidences. They're the natural result of sustained internal coherence. When thoughts, emotions, and actions align with a future reality, the external world reorganizes to reflect that alignment. These stories reinforce a powerful truth. Knowledge alone does not create change. Application does. Chapter 11, Space-Time and Time-Space. In this chapter, Dispenza takes the reader beyond conventional physics and into a deeper understanding of reality. He explains the difference between space-time and time-space. In the familiar world of space-time, space appears solid and time appears linear. We experience time moving forward as we travel through space. This is the realm of cause and effect, identity, and physical form. Time-space is different. In this quantum realm, time is eternal and space becomes fluid. Consciousness moves through dimensions rather than locations. This is where all possibilities coexist simultaneously. When individuals enter deep meditative states and detach from their sensory identity, they can experience time-space directly. These experiences often feel more real than ordinary waking life. Insight, clarity, and a profound sense of unity emerge. Dispenza emphasizes that understanding this concept intellectually is not enough. Repeated contemplation prepares the brain for direct experience. Eventually, the experience itself becomes the teacher. Chapter 12, The Pineal Gland. The pineal gland plays a central role in mystical and transcendental experiences. Dispenza describes it as a biological antenna capable of translating frequencies and information into vivid inner imagery. When the brain enters high levels of coherence and energy is elevated through breath and focused attention, the pineal gland becomes activated. In response, it produces powerful neurochemicals that alter perception. These chemicals allow individuals to experience sight, sound, and sensation without using the physical senses. Inner experiences become immersive and undeniable. The boundary between observer and observed dissolves. Dispenza explains that these states are not hallucinations. They are structured biological events with measurable brain activity. When properly understood and practiced, activation of the pineal gland becomes a gateway to expanded awareness. Chapter 13, Project Coherence. This chapter expands the work from the individual to the collective. Project Coherence is an initiative where large groups of people meditate together with synchronized intention and emotion. Research shows that when groups enter heart and brain coherence simultaneously, measurable changes occur in environments. Violence decreases. Cooperation increases. Order emerges from chaos. Dispenza explains that coherence is contagious. The electromagnetic fields generated by the heart carry information. When enough people sustain elevated emotional states together, their combined field influences others non-locally. Project Coherence demonstrates that interchange is not just personal, it is planetary. When individuals heal themselves, they contribute to healing the world. Chapter 14, Case Studies. IT could happen to you. The final chapter shares extraordinary case studies of mystical and interdimensional experiences. People describe encounters beyond time and space, profound states of unity, and moments of deep knowing. These stories are not included to impress or mystify. They serve a practical purpose, to normalize the extraordinary. Dispenza emphasizes that these experiences are not reserved for monks, saints, or gurus. They are the natural outcome of disciplined practice, emotional mastery, and coherent intention. With commitment and consistency, the supernatural becomes familiar. The underlying message is clear. What others have experienced is available to you as well. Becoming supernatural is not escaping reality. It is mastering it. The future self already exists. The only question is, will you become it?